I decided to start chronicling my journey. What's that journey? Well, I start OSHA classes in a week, right before my birthday. And this is something that I have been, it came upon me. And once it was there, I couldn't, I couldn't put it to the side. And this is what happened. Okay, I was born and raised a United Methodist. But as a teenager, I drifted, and one of the reasons why I drifted was because I had a lot of people, not a lot, I had some very important people close to me who got involved in religious cults, religious Christian cults. And that just kind of drove me in the opposite direction. And so pretty much I stopped going to church, and then I rebelled against it, and I stayed away for a long, long, long time. And a lot of the teachings that I learned as a United Methodist, I put to the side, and I just went out into the world. And as my grandmother said, I became worldly. Well, a few years ago, right before big birthday, I went to Mexico City. And while I was there, I went to the Cathedral of Our Lady. And I was looking up at the painting of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And it's a beautiful painting. It's an old painting, and something drew me to it. And then the next day, I ended up going back to that church again, that cathedral again. And I just felt a sense of peace, a sense of comfort. And I looked at the painting again, and there was something that just kept drawing me to it. And this was a very slow process, because I was, at that point, not an atheist, but kinda, yeah. I just didn't believe. I didn't believe at all anymore. I wanted to, but I didn't believe. I spent so many years not believing. Well, anyway, I was at the church. I went back, and then when I went home, I was looking at the videos I made when I was at the church. And for some reason, I went back, because I love Mexico City. I went back again, and I went back to the cathedral. And I bought holy water, because none of my friends drink anymore. We're past all that. And instead of bringing back tequila, I'd bring back holy water. But I kept thinking, and I kept thinking. And I was really going through it. Because for the first time in my life, well, not in my life, but for the first time in many, many years, in decades, in fact, I was ready to start doing some real internal work. And I was ready to start taking care of myself. And part of taking care of myself was my spiritual self, which had been neglected since I was a kid, basically. But I kept thinking about Mary. I kept thinking about Mother Mary. And I was going through something at the time. Not at the time. I was going through something that had been going on for many years. I was a drinker. And I was, I drank. I drank just to shut all the noises off. And I did it for a long time. And I had a problem. And one day, I said to myself, can you take this burden from me? Can you lift this addiction off of me? And you know what? God did. It was gone. It was like instant, bam. I no longer had that craving, that overwhelming urge to just drink. It was gone. I was healed. Honestly, I felt like it was an affliction that was lifted off of me. And then things really started to crank around in this brain of mine. And it was like all of a sudden, I keep saying all of a sudden, but what happened was I started having this process, this felt like something was missing, and I was looking, and that was the piece of the puzzle that fit perfectly. And so I started thinking about Catholicism I started thinking about Catholicism because of this. I had gone back to church a few times through the years, and every time I had gone back to church, it seemed like my church, the United Methodist Church, it was less about spirituality, it was less about redemption, it was less about religion and more about social causes. And I did not like that. I'm not going to church to socialize. I'm going to church because I need to save my soul. And I didn't find that. And I through the years, I would occasionally go back. And every time I went back, I didn't get that feeling. But when I went to a Catholic church, when I went to a cathedral, I felt the presence. I felt a holy presence, and I was drawn to it. And it gave me such a sense of peace that I never had. And so I started thinking, I started researching, I started watching videos, and then I decided I wanted to return to the church, but I didn't want to return to the United Methodist Church. I wanted to become a Catholic because I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to the original source, right? Not the spin-offs. I'm going to go to the original source, and I'm going to go to a place where I felt the Spirit. I felt peace. I felt calm. I felt forgiveness. I felt all of these things that I never experienced before. So this is my journey. I hope you stay with me. Honestly, I'm going to learn a lot, and I'm going to share what I know. And I hope I don't get too much of it wrong. And if I do, feel free to correct me. But don't be mean, because I'm sensitive.